Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Experience Team's iteration retro meeting. So we'll go over things that went well and things to improve on from the last 2 weeks. Today is June 17th. And I believe for things that went well, Jess has the first point.
Yeah, I just had a few coffee chats this week that were very productive. All people I'd never had a coffee chat with, some completely random. And again, it's like a good reminder for me that not everything has to be asynchronous, and sometimes it's actually better to like have a chat with someone in person, so to speak. And it felt a little bit like slowing down to speed up. Like sometimes I feel like I don't have the time for a coffee chat, but actually by having that coffee chat, I get more done or I'm more productive or whatnot. So I had a really great chat with Bree, one of our content strategists, and she was able to produce a new template for us to use if we want to request a content resource for them. So that's great. And there was a lot of confusion around who we were supposed to ask before that. So I got a lot of clarity on what was going on there. And then I had a great random chat with Bruno, one of our sales team members, that kind of led me to remember that we have other users, not just external, but internal as well. And I have a couple issues produced from that. And also chatted with Dylan Orino, who had great ideas with the install page. I looked at that page and I was like, I don't know what's going on here. And I felt like really unsure about what I was supposed to do next. It didn't seem like there was enough there to even have like a user research session. So I just talked to Dylan and he gave me some really great ideas to jump off of. So just having these coffee chats really set me up for success this week, and I'm really glad I did.
I just want to shout out everyone for keeping it cool while asks are coming left and right for our team. This last iteration cycle, it just seemed like there'd be something here and the next day something there, and got a little crazy, but we handled it.
I think Stephen might have the next point.
Sorry, I just keep saying that GIF on rotate. Get Nathan on board with the OKR work. There you go. Keeping it brief and simple and to the point. So, yeah, thanks, Nathan.
Yeah, same to you.
And then I guess we can jump into things to improve on. And I think Barker has the first one.
Yeah, that gives funny. So I want more of this. Cross-functional teams using GitLab to collaborate and continuously build digital products. And we're like the perfect use case for that and helping make that happen. And for example, Suri Patel and Lisa Ram contributed content changes to the GCP partner page merge request using the GitLab web editor. Wow, you could track the commit, what they changed word for word. It is the single most efficient way to add content and edit content on our website. And it always will be, period. Netlify CMS, super awesome. It's another tool that's gonna allow you to edit content. But GitLab will always be better. So I want more of that. And if we could, as a team, help our partners do that, that would be great. And I will get off my chair now and pass it to Javi.
I just wanted to bring up a point that Nathan brought up, a good point about ESLint rules. And so in an MR for the nav work that I've been working on, and I said that we should consider adding to them, editing them, doing stuff like that. I also added an extra side point because I've been struggling with this one for a while and I actually haven't ever vocalized it. But when you're trying to run the job locally, one of the lint jobs, it will run on the node modules, and we don't want that locally. And I think it has to do with the way that the order in which the pipelines work on the GitLab config, where those files don't exist yet in the way that it's set up. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. That's okay. Yeah, I think just coming up with a standard. It doesn't have to be strict. It doesn't have to be, just to have something. I know Airbnb has a good default kind of starting point. And then also just to start a conversation on what's the end goal of what do we want this repo to look like at the end? Do we want it to be viewed? Do we want jQuery out of here? What can we be doing in our day-to-day work to get ourselves in a better direction? So what I've been doing is if I have like a page that, like for example, the events page, it was written 4 years ago, a lot of jQuery, a lot of old JS. So I kind of rip it out and redo it. But I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing because I don't know what the end goal is. So maybe we just start that conversation now. That'd be great. I see a lot of writing, but yeah.
I just in the thing I said that we've done some of like the architecture style like discussions like when we first all got onboarded. And we have like a lot of like that high level like kind of thought process. It might be a little stale now that we've been here longer and our thoughts may have evolved since that, but like I can direct you to some of the issues where we have those conversations because I think like it's really interesting to look back and to see like what decision, like what has changed since then. I would link them to you right now if I just didn't go and cook, but like, yeah.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I can link that. Actually, let me link those in the water cooler or in the digital experience team like thing and be like, hey, like these are the things that like you requested, just so that everyone has visibility into that.
Cool.
I think just to add on, there was like, so in terms of like the old rickety www repo, when I first joined is right when Brandon had kind of started this initiative of naming all of our CSS files 2020 whatever CSS, like there's 2020 base, but then like there would be like 2020 homepage or like 2020 like you would know which pages had been at least CSS had been updated because it was 2020 at the time, and so it was a really quick way to like see what was updated versus what hasn't been touched in the last like 4 years, and like know that if it didn't have that 2020 CSS file, that it probably was like old stuff that we could just rip out. Who knows what spaghetti was cooking up, was boiling, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did like that convention of just like a quick way of like, oh, these are new pages and those are old pages. But in terms of getting rid of stuff, yeah, it would be nice to know that anything that's like 2 years old plus is probably safe to like really mess with. Maybe, I don't know.
Javi brought up a side project he's building to see if he can just dump a next instance in our repo. And this is something Michael's talked about too, is like, what if we built, you know, another project within it with a different static site generator and slowly migrated parts of the site over to it? And that would be really interesting to explore, see if it's feasible. And then we'd always know where our new stuff is if we did that.
I think we're done on that item. Yeah, I have a small bit for the last one that I just put in. I discovered during our Design 101 session that the Figma type stack labeling versus the Tailwind labeling are not aligned, which is confusing engineers. So a body one is called something completely different in Tailwind. You know, my instincts are the path of least resistance is to update the Figma file. I'll create an action item for that, but that definitely needs to be improved because I think a lot of time is wasted there, not only, you know, through the coding, but then in review, I'm like, this is not the right thing. And now I understand why it's not the right thing. It's because it's not labeled the same. It's very confusing.
I'm happy to partner with you on that if you want.
Great. Awesome. Let's do that.
Strong +1 there. I also just wanted to say thank you so much for designing and building that Figma repo, because like one look into it and I was just like, oh, I never want to get in there ever again. So thank you so much.
All right, I think that's pretty much it. We have a few action items to try and encourage people to use our web IDE if they have copy edits, and we'll work on those tech stack slippers divergences. Any last thoughts before I hit stop? Okay, thank you everyone.